Modern society depends on high-quality teaching and learning through teachers. Teachers have to forces with deal of knowledge and skill with standards to put teaching and assessment practice in order to meet those image and standards quality education.
Podcast umum Indonesia.
Well, hello people and welcome to our podcast. I'm A.Yuliani.Ap and I'm not alone here. I have two gorgeous friends here. I have Ainul Fitri and Aini Syafira Maleimakuni. Hi Fira, how are you? How's the weather over there?
Yeah, pretty good, but it's a bit rainy.
Alright, so how about Ainul? Ainul, nice to meet you. It's been a while, right?
Yeah, nice to meet you too.
Alright, so like you guys heard earlier in the podcast, one of the things that teachers need is skill in teaching. And we are group 7 from English for Young Learner. We are gonna talk deeply in this section about one of those skills. That is storytelling to young learner. Alright listeners, and why we tell stories in a classroom? We usually give students a book to read, but how often do we tell them stories? Storytelling helps students increase their verbal proficiency, and it also helps them enhance their listening skills. It also allows students to incorporate the target language. And ultimately, storytelling is the most beneficial for young learners of English for the following reasons. Well, the first is storytelling is an authentic form of communication. It's a part of every culture. In many cultures, storytelling is also a tradition used to communicate culture from one generation to the next. And the second is storytelling introduces new cultures to children. Do you guys know stories are a carrier of culture? And what do you think a better way to expose children to the values of various cultures than to use storytelling? For example, there are many different versions of the Cinderella story, and which comes from German, French, China, Korea, Mexico, and many other versions. And all of these stories about the poor girl who is good and ends up marrying the prince. However, there are many variations in each story that give insight into the different cultures that these Cinderella stories come from. And teachers could use several stories from around the world in thematic unit, highlight cultural diversity. Well, this is just one example of how teachers can introduce children to people from other cultures through stories. And next is storytelling teach young learners in an entertaining way. You guys already know what's about this reason. And the last reason is storytelling develops critical thinking skills. But in this reason, I'm not gonna talk much. I'm gonna move forward to the next topic. Alright listeners, the next topic are we gonna talk about is how we tell stories in a classroom. Well, I'm gonna give you some very important tips when you tell a story. Well, first of all, tell the story that you like. That is very important. And you take the time to prepare. When you tell the story, remember to bring resources that are gonna help you tell that story. Now, let me give an example. What if you tell a story of a bird who was looking for his mom? What if I say, once upon a time there was a bird, and then I can show a picture of a bird, I can pretend to be a bird, or I can whistle like a bird. No, I'm not gonna whistle right now, but in class, you can do that as a teacher. And does that make a difference? Yeah, of course. So, the more resources that you have, the more attention that you're gonna get from students. The next tips is about your voice. Use a strong and confident voice. Make voices. If you're reading the part that a child is gonna speak, use a child's voice, like, "Mama, can you please help me?" See, if the mama is talking now, you guys like, "Yeah, sure." You have to imitate the voice, and there is one very important thing. Forget your pretty face, make funny faces. Yeah. For your information, you guys, I have a friend who hate tell story to kids because they don't want to make funny faces. But yeah, you have to do those funny faces. Those 5 voices helps a lot. And another very important thing is eye contact. While telling stories, make eye contact and they're gonna pay attention to it. Well, listeners, based on my experience, when I was teaching on one of my program course, is if your story has a song, teach the song. Teach the song before, and they will participate with you while telling the story. And if the story doesn't have a song, think that you can create the song and just fitting this story. Just do it. Don't be what's the word? Don't be shy. Now let me just imagine here. Like, once upon a time, there was a baby. He really liked to listening his mom sing, and every night she sing.
Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are.
So, when you give them a song on a sentence that they have to say with you while you telling the story, it's a way of helping them concentrate in what you sung, because they have to know the exact time that they have to tell the story with you. And yep, this is good strategy that you should try, and it usually work very well. Okay.
Hi, I'm Fira. The next topic that I'm gonna talk about is effective storytelling activity. In order to design effective storytelling activities, it is important for teacher to think about activities before, during, and after the storytelling. In addition to preparation for making the story come alive, the teacher needs to prepare students with the language to understand the story. Activities to keep students active and engaged in class at every stage of the storytelling should also be planned. First step, that is activities before storytelling. Before storytelling activities are designed to aid comprehension, create interest, and enjoyment. Make the storytelling more meaningful and encourage critical thinking. First, capture their attention. Use the picture Aurelia to introduce the story in a fun and interesting way. You can use the cover of the storybook to capture the attention of students or create for fun visual. To make the characters come alive, the teacher should make finger or popsicle sticks puppet of the character to introduce them to the class. Second, pre-teach new vocabulary or expression. If there are keywords or structures, they are necessary to comprehend the story and can be inferred from the context. It's better to teach them before storytelling. Third, ask students to predict what will happen in the story. It can be fun and helpful. Encourage students to predict what will happen in the story. Prediction is a good critical thinking skill to encourage. Be sure to record the prediction to check whether they are correct letters. Students could write one sentence they think will be in the story and put it in in the prediction box. Then, at the end of the story, the teacher can read the sentence out loud for fun. Fourth, give students a purpose for listening. Before you begin telling a story, give students a purpose for listening, in addition to pure enjoyment. This can help them stay engaged and make them more active listeners during the storytelling. Perhaps the purpose is to check their prediction, as mentioned earlier. If the story has a lesson or moral to learn from, tell your student to listen for it. Be sure to ask them for it at the end of the story. If there are songs, chants, or lines from the story that children can repeat, teach them before the story. Then, give students a cue for participation that they can listen for. The second steps, that is activities during storytelling. During storytelling, activities are usually used to check comprehension. They can also be used to keep students' interest and allow students to change, interact, practice using English. There are activities that can be done during storytelling. First, there is Q&A. Second, repetition. Third, TPR or total sequel response. And fourth, create your own ending. The last steps is activities after storytelling. First, that is check prediction. Second, that is group retelling. Third, that is games. Fourth, storyboarding. And the last, that is story mapping or story analysis.
Hello, I am Ainul Fitri. Well, for me, I'm gonna talk about designing a lesson with storytelling. In designing, there are 6 steps. The step 1 is warm up. Warm up is a type of activities in before storytelling activities, and what you have to do in here is suggest activities. Step 2 is presentation. Presentation is type of activities in during storytelling activities, and what you have to do in here is suggest activities. Step 3 till step 6, practice, application, assessment, and follow-up is type activities in after storytelling activities, and what you have to do in here is suggest activities. Okay, for the conclusion of our podcast for today, there are storytelling is a fun and authentic approach. Storytelling is a fun, exciting way to present English in a meaningful context and to expose children to other culture. Storytelling is an authentic form of communication for young learners in a culture. Storytelling promotes critical thinking. Storytelling can help teachers incorporate the development of critical thinking skill while developing language skill in children. Storytelling can help children develop their critical thinking skills and deepen their understanding of how stories are connect to their lives, their culture, and other culture. Teachers should prepare storytelling carefully. Since storytellers are performers, teachers should meticulously prepare their theories, props, and storytelling script beforehand, and then rehearse until ready to form. Good storytelling involves preparing before, during, and after storytelling activities. These activities capture the attention of learners while making input comprehensible. The activities check students' comprehension of the story and encourage learners to practicing using the new language. Okay, and the last, storytelling can promote thematic learning.
Storytelling is a great counterpiece for a thematic unit that develops the four language skill in an integrated manner and ensure communication among students for an extended period of time.
Alright, listeners, that's all for our podcast. Thanks for listening and hope you guys enjoy it. Thank you and bye bye.
I'll be your lighthouse, I'll make it okay.